2:05, let's call the meeting to order. The Bradenton Community Development Agency Board meeting. Let's begin with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Ouch. Okay, at this time, we will take citizens' comments. Comments will be accepted during this portion of the meeting on any non-agenda item, future agenda item, or topic of relevance to the Community Redevelopment Agency of the City of Bradenton. Comments will be accepted on the public hearings at the appropriate time. Do we have any, Ms. Kaiser, do we have any public comments?
We do not, Madam Chair.
No. Okay, hearing none, we will move to the consent agenda. Do I have a motion?
Move to approve the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Okay, we have a first and a second. Any comments? Any discussion? Okay, there was one thing I thought I wanted to talk about, but, oh well. Okay, we'll go ahead and take a vote. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Passes unanimously. Other discussions?
Madam Chairman, on our list we have Minnie Lee Rogers, just to inform you that a proposal has been sent to the city for the garbage run, and that it's in process. So that's all we're going to say about that, and let the city do its job. Just to let you also know that the annual report that was required to be in this month, the beginning of this month, was submitted early, and we can thank Chris for that. He took what I did last year and he improved greatly upon it and actually made it look like a nice annual report instead of just a report. So if you would like a copy of that, I'm sure he will be happy to give that to you. You already gave it to him?
I think KK sent it out.
Okay. All right. Therefore, we met that requirement by the state of Florida. 14th Street property, if you didn't hear this morning, the City Council approved the first hearing of a brownfield designation that is helps us and helps the developer, the proposed developer who's purchasing the property. We had to clean it up anyway, so we're in the process to do that, and we are currently contracting with Geosyntec. Did I get that right?
Yes.
To remove the kerosene tank, and I believe Scott's already gone through and taken care of the contract and everything like that. So we'll move forward with that, get that designation taken care of, get that out of the way so we can move forward with the closing and then the development, which they're already pre-financed on, so that's a good deal. Also, I have for you a proposed, you know me, I don't like things unless I can change them. I have a proposed logo change for the,
Can you take the 2 off? I didn't do
yeah, I've got that on my list.
Okay, just making sure.
A proposed logo change for the CRA. Heart of the city is interesting. It's the heart of the city. It just is, I don't know what that means. I like for a logo to actually say something about you. And since I've been here, we have been revamping the CRA. We actually use a sustainable economic development theory from the 1980s to develop our plans and everything, and it includes a Venn chart for environmental, economic, and social, bringing them all together. And when you bring them together in balance, you gain sustainable redevelopment. That's what this says. I'll leave this with you. You guys can look at it. If you want to make improvements, want something different, let me know. I am not a graphic designer. It might be like too bland, I don't know, but I'm sure we can come up with something that actually, when people see it, they'll ask a question, what does this mean? And then we'll have an answer for it, and it'll explain who we are. So, not just a logo. That never really worked for me. Annual report, also, not on the list, but we need to discuss it. You just also approved a CCNA agreement with Applied Sciences. This is a contract that the city had and uses on the city park. We are piggybacking off of that because we are part of the city, but we had to have our own contract. Scott has taken care of that for us. That is the contract, which means now we can provide work assignments to the consultant. And we want to, we have budgeted in our current budget money to have them begin doing community engagement with all 3 CRAs about a very large streetscaping and LID project throughout all 3 that would connect Lecom to downtown, make improvements throughout Tamiami, including Village of the Arts and the Singletary neighborhood, and also connect east to west on MLK. And the beautiful part about this is we are planning to finance it through state revolving loan funds because it will have a stormwater component to it and actually help the city with their stormwater issues. It will collect stormwater and pre-treat it on site versus having it run through the system into the river. So we'll actually be catching water and pre-treating it. I've done this half a dozen times in the different cities, and this is a 20-year 1% money, so this is a really good financing package. And it'll also enhance aesthetics, so we can actually make it look very, very, very nice while we're doing it. That being said, we do have money in the budget for all 3, and with your approving the contract, we'll go ahead and approve the work assignments to Applied Sciences to get to work on this, because we want them finished during this calendar year, so then we can move forward with financing for design and then construction later on. This is the project that we mentioned that there was money at the MPO that would come in and work with us on this, so very excited about that also. So that's that. Also to note, on April the 26th is the DeSoto Parade, and just want to let you know that we will be setting up a ribbon cutting for the freebie joint CRA, joint city agreement. And since the Green Bridge will be closed on the southbound side, we're going to try and set it up on the city line at the top of the bridge and invite the city, the day of the parade, yes. It will be before the parade because everybody will be in the downtown anyway, because that's where the parade starts. So we're gonna ask the police department to help us organize everybody, get you out there, take a picture with a Palmetto and a Bradenton freebie with the Palmetto City Council and the mayor. Okay.
He gave you a thumbs up.
And also we'll invite the county commission because they are a funding partner in this also. So we're in the process of getting, Todd is working on that right now to get everybody lined up. And then we'll have hopefully have the PD help us, and maybe freebie, get everybody out there. So
I was thinking about that.
Yeah,
We all may need a ride after that.
and the bad news on this is I did ask if they had a convertible that we could put both mayors in and put them in the parade, but unfortunately freebie does not have a convertible. So that being said, is there anything else that we have for him? Everything is moving forward. Oh, also, I put on your desks a email from Brian Cook at Applied Sciences about, because I know what we brought up in member comments about Love Park, and he's just giving us an update that he's met with Swift Mud, worked on components and layouts, including criteria for fallout zones for ADA accessibility for the park. And he just listed, he says they're about at 60% plan, so once we hit 80, we will be going to bid and putting that out to bid. So we are very excited about having that done also. And with that, we are also putting together a kind of a pro forma on the affordable house that we're talking about building and all the components to that. I had a nice discussion with a group called SELF. They are a nonprofit in the state of Florida that's funded by the EPA, and they finance solar energy for affordable housing. And the good news is, in talking with them, because, you know, we don't want to make the insurance industry mad, putting power walls in the houses, but the solar panels are not on the roofs. They're actually separate, and they collect as a total for all the houses on the ground. So we're working on that also. And met with CDBG, the city CDBG, about partnering with them on the houses in the future. And they felt like because of the numbers, they could do that, but we'll have further discussions, which just helps us spread our money a little bit further. So any questions, be happy to answer them. Todd, you got anything?
No, I've asked Freebie and they've committed to.
If you're not out at a mic, you're not going to be heard.
Gotta give them your name too.
My name's Todd Campbell, CRA coordinator. I've spoken with Freebie and they've committed to providing shuttles for both sides of the river. So we will not make you walk. That was one thing I made sure that we had in place for this plan. So,
Yeah.
more to come.
You might want to think about, I don't know if this would be on Freebie, but having a Freebie car ride down not with any of us in it, but just to advertise for Freebie. I mean, we'd have to get it cleared with
DeSoto.
DeSoto, but it might be good for them to show everybody.
An entry.
I think that can be arranged because I think they've applied for a grant through with the partnership we're having with Manatee County for the festivities they're having in the downtown. And so they probably wouldn't mind having Freebie advertised like that. Maybe a Palmetto and a Bradenton car riding.
Yeah. I just a thought, you know, I'm all about branding. Which brings me to my next question.
And also, just to let you know, we've had a record number of grants applied for, and they are all matriculating through the proper boards. And they will, we have some for the Public Art Board. We have a number of them for the Tamiami Trail. They have had the most of applications in. And we are looking at, there was a project or a program that I had in Palmetto. We'd have to find the right partner. But it was rehabbing homes that had code enforcement violations where we provided the grant. And we were, in that one particular case, we worked with Habitat. And it was a really productive, they did more than we ever thought they would. And we were just looking at providing that in Central. So I'm gonna find the documentation from Palmetto and I'll bring it forward and show it to you. And we'll talk with potential partners on that. But there would be an analysis of affordability to make sure that we were helping the appropriate homes. And then code enforcement would partner with us and go into the homes and they would identify violations. And then we would have a grant there to address those violations. And that could be everything from a new roof, new windows. It covered a lot of things, but by addressing code violations, that's a determinant of blight. So it's a direct infusion of money to remove blight in the neighborhood. And it worked very well. So those are the things that I've got for you today.
Does anybody else have any questions?
I have a little one.
Go ahead.
About the LED lighting and then also, did you say water treatment component?
In the streetscaping, I'll be happy to take you on a tour of other places that I've done this, but it includes bioswales, surface infiltration basins, storm pavers, that basically have a component underneath them that when the water falls and comes off the streets, it runs right into parking spaces, sidewalks, things like that. It's called low-impact development. It's been around for quite a while. And Swift Mud is just now beginning to identify it as a component of how you can do your stormwater pretreatment. But it does qualify for state revolving loan funds.
If you're getting funds also from the MPO, did I understand that correctly, that it's a kind
The
of?
MPO and their 5-year plan that you're gonna be seeing, it's their new 5-year plan. It includes funding for a streetscape on 9th between Lecom coming into downtown. And in their discussions with them, they also mentioned that the county may be interested in carrying that south. But they had budgeted in that draft for a little over $14 million. Now, that's not LID, that's just pure,
Streetscape.
that's just pure traffic management and multi-mobility. But we can work with that.
Well, that was gonna be my question, was if you're working with the MPO to fund the project in totality, does it have to still remain within the district boundary?
If you wanted it to go into any other boundary areas, you'd have to talk to the MPO about their money. They're gonna be looking at like 14th, 9th, major corridors.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty much what they look at. It just happened that we're aiming at the same target, and we can layer our. In Palmetto, I actually did a Swift Mud FDOT CRA project, and in this case, we have the MPO, which is FDOT money, and and the reason it's 2030 is because they do everything in 5-year increments. They always have a 5-year plan. So, and that's not bad. We can continue to work on some of the other areas they're not working on and move those forward. And then when their money comes along, we can do the main corridor. They're also looking at 14th, and that's a FDOT road, and I love FDOT, but I don't like working on the roads. A lot of requirements with them, a lot of strings attached with those projects. 9th is a city-owned road, which means that we have the full capability to make the changes we want. And of course, this would run through the city because the city owns the road, so we would have to make sure everything is in compliance with what they want. So.
You good? Anybody else have anything? I had just 2 little questions. The annual report, is that been posted on the website? Oh, good, because I remember that came before.
It's required, and he got it up the day he finished it. That was the first place it went. And he also sent it to the county, which is not required.
Yeah, good. And then, okay, this is the 3rd time we've had a new CRA logo in not a very long time. And I'm fine with that. It's just, I wish we could get to someplace where we just stop. Because when you talk about rebranding, I mean, we're doing great stuff. I would love to see more color in this, but I'm not a graphic, like you said, and I'm not even a marketing. Do we want to just go with this, or do we want to get, what is the board's feeling on this?
Well-
I've got shirts that I've never worn with the other one.
If I may.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if we will go with this, but it's clearer, and
Mhm.
it says what CRA is, as opposed to what we have now. I strongly suggest we change from what we have now. Yes, it's colorful, but it's almost not serious.
Well, that's what I was gonna say.
You know?
This is more business oriented, which
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. I
I
mean,
just-
it is colorful and it does get attention, but to be honest, as it's driving by as a wrap or something on one of the windows, you just don't really know what it is. So, I'm definitely for something that's more clear.
My argument is that you want to have an elevator pitch, and you want to, if someone asks you what your CRA is about, and within a couple minutes, I can draft a short paragraph that you could use that would explain everything about this and CRAs. We are the only CRA that has a sustainability component to what we do, and it's in our plan, it's in our plan, it's in our incentives, it's in our grants. It's a framework that we do everything by. So not only can we say it, but we can show it. And I think that sells better than the prettiest picture, right? And we have some beautiful pictures of the CRA on the Riverwalk, and, I mean, and we use those. But, at the beginning of the day, we want to start out with, this is who we are, this is what we do, and this is why we do it. And the cool part is the developers we work with, and everybody's okay with it because, we incentivize it. And they like that. Surprise.
I also was gonna say, do we want more color?
Either that or no color, maybe just
Okay,
go
or just
with-
black and white?
Yeah,
We-
but see, there again, there are people that study this stuff.
Right.
And really know what they're doing, and they may say, oh, no, you want that color, it makes it pop, or, that's why I sometimes, I like going to a professional for something like that, but I'm fine, I just would like us to kind of start getting branded with one thing, so we don't, because we've got so many different out there.
Would you, do you have any thought on tying it to the city at all? Now, we have a city policy on our colors and logo, and do we feel any need to, like, sustainable, friendly city
I will
redevelopment?
Here's
I will
where
s-
I would say
But
I'd
yes,
like
I
to
know.
defer to that person that knows this stuff.
I will say this about that when, in another city, in Palmetto, and it wasn't about the branding, but it became the branding that we used.
Right?
And then they changed, of course. When we did Sutton Park, we used River Rock. And one of the local folks, that's an artist, a really good artist, came up and said, looks like Lakewood Ranch. And guess what? I looked at it and I went, it does look like Lakewood Ranch, the drawings. And I said, but tell me what Palmetto looks like. And a week later, she came back to me with some of her friends, and we said, we figured it out. And I said, so what is it? She says, it's the color of the red bricks that are underneath all the asphalt now. Anything that you do structurally that's horizontal should be red brick colored. Anything you do vertical should be in the same as the brick on the Carnegie Library in Palmetto. And I just sat there and smiled because, see, I can explain, and you guys know, because the Carnegie, you know that color. And so everything since then has been those colors. And if anybody asks or they see that consistency, you can tell them that story. And everybody that I've talked to about, oh, I get it now. It says something. It's actually from the past. It brings the past to the forward, and I like that. So if the city wanted to do a color, my question would be the same question I asked the Palmetto Art Center, and that is, what is the color of Bradenton? What is it? And
Sure, if we ask the mayor, he'll say orange and blue.
orange like the oranges, and blue like the river.
Like the
Right,
trash
Mayor?
can.
Yeah.
The rainbow.
So, and we're not opposed to, if there is a professional that does this for a living, not opposed to going to them and saying, tell us what you think we should be, and then give us the reason why those colors should matter.
At what
I-
cost?
I have a
Well-
lot of respect for Sharon Hellstrom and her group there. I mean, and she seems very in tune with that kind of thing. And she will come from a business standpoint too.
Yes.
just my, these are just my thoughts. I mean,
We can take this to them,
yeah,
and I don't have a problem. In fact, I'll see if I can find one of the representatives after the meeting.
that'd be great. Okay, anything else?
I had one thing, but
Okay,
can we? So I have talked about in several different CRA meetings, the lights that we have in our trees on Main Street. I don't think there's enough of them. I think they're too small. I don't like the way they're put in. And I wanted to show you, when I'm talking about putting lights in trees, I'm talking about bigger bulbs, brighter bulbs, and I want it in other areas of downtown rather than just on Old Main. So, again, I've learned from someone who kept talking about flowers on Old Main Street.
well, I want more of those.
So, I make another plea to say, this is a very inexpensive way to help create a sense of place, an atmosphere, and help people believe that our downtown is important by sprucing it up with
Am I
some
remembering
lights.
that was a CRA project anyway?
I don't know that it was a CRA project. I think that we ought to take it over. I think we ought to look at coming up with lights that, because now they have them where you can program them. So they could be white. For the 4th of July, they could be red, white, and blue. For, I don't know, springtime, you could do pink and purple. I don't know.
I hope we
So
don't get
you're
into
saying,
all
like,
that.
You're saying if it was a national championship basketball, they'd be orange and blue?
Thanks, Mary Ann.
All I'm saying
No, I agree
is,
with you about the lights.
the lights, as they stand now, are pathetic at best. Because you'll have, well, check, next time you're down, check. It's like there's one strand and one tree and one strand and another tree. I don't think it provides any kind of ambiance or atmosphere or placemaking, and I think that this was it's a very inexpensive way to do it. And I would like to see it throughout.
And whoever hung
urban
the
core.
flags could just do that at the same time.
So,
Madam Chairman, if I might, when you talk about the downtown, anywhere in the CRA, you've got public and private property. So with the public property, we'll look at the CRA plan and see how it fits. If it's doable, it's in that plan already. I know that. The other news is on the private side. That's probably even simpler. If it's in the plan, we can incorporate it into grants and award grants for private owners to put. Now, since we're providing a portion of the money, we can also give them the specifications of the lights to make sure all the lights are,
It's a uniform.
yes. So we'll be happy to look at that and bring it back at the next meeting.
I think that,
And-
do you need a motion or anything like that?
Nope, no, if the board's okay with that, we're fine with moving it forward. And like I said, I don't think I have a problem with it. I'll look at the plan just to make sure we have support for that. And then, again, if it's in the plan, it can go into the grants. And it might be a redevelopment grant, it might be something else, but we'll figure out. If we don't have to change the grant package, we'll just incorporate it into one of the existing.
What area were you thinking? Because there's not a lot of tree canopy.
well, there's not necessarily trees like this, but there are trees throughout the downtown that, and many of them are in the city right-of-way.
Yeah.
So, for example, the trees down by the old Hope Family Services building, we could put lights in those trees.
Where's that?
It's,
Down Main Street towards the Village of the Arts,
Oh, okay.
okay? We can talk with the people, with Mr. Herring at Sun and the properties that he has We can look at along, again, just not Old Main Street. I think we can talk to County Clerk Colonesso and see if we can get some put in the courthouse square. I think there's several other places that these kinds of lights or an appropriate kind of light could be put in that's going to help, again, with placemaking.
We may even be able, since it does light up the area, we may be able to include this in Septet, so. So, let us take a look at that. We'll bring back, hopefully a solution at the next meeting and, incorporate it into our, what we're doing, run it by Scott, just to make sure he's cool with it. And once we get that in place, then as far as the private side is concerned, we can have the grants immediately ready to go in case somebody wants to do it. And on the public side, we can begin counting trees to determine how many trees are there. And then number two is begin also looking at a uniform light that really does work. And she is correct, you can phase the lights so that they do change colors. And on Christmas, you can make them red and green, and on Halloween, they can be orange, which is interesting. You can really set a theme with that. So not many cities do that. Some do. That's Tallahassee right there, because I have pictures of that, the tiered parks going through the downtown, and they really do light those trees up. 3 blocks worth of that. So, and people do go down there and really use it at night.
I was gonna add to your placemaking that I agree that there's some establishments off of, Maine that might appreciate being a little more included in the effort. And to the point about placemaking, could we kind of almost create a path that people, you feel like they're gonna take that next step because there's a tree with lights on it, so clearly it's meant to be traversed. And that makes me think of extending it through, like the Hope was a good idea, maybe that even pushes people towards the Lee Comp, tying it together, like bridging that gap. Maybe if we're using Septed, the skate park a little bit, or more concentration. I don't know if I want people to go there or not. But just an idea as far as, like what makes people think, I'm gonna go to this next block. Maybe it is lights that they think, okay, I'm meant to go here, in other words.
I think my question would be is how do you prepare, or how is it handled with storms? Because I imagine that's why our lights look terrible right now.
Our lights look terrible because we have the cheapest ones possible and the squirrels gnaw through them.
I don't know that that's.
That's how
We
it,
got the cheapest ones? I thought we.
they're
paid extra to
not
get
very
some-
high grade, and, pardon me?
How long ago?
I don't think that we have quality lights out there. I think that they're relatively inexpensive. I think they're put up willy-nilly. And I think that we need to have someone, we need to get quality things, and we may need to have someone professionally install them.
Okay. Yeah, that might be worth it.
Make it nice.
Anything else?
Oh, Madam Chair, also Marshall Gabuti said he was gonna donate $1 million to the new lights in the downtown.
I'll be sure and thank him for that.
Just one last thing, just for your edification, I had a meeting last week with Ryan Matthews, the lobbyist for the Florida Redevelopment Association, and the lobbyist also for the Florida League of Cities. We discussed current bills in the House and Senate. There's a bill that obviously shuts down CRAs for the most part. Any new projects, it will shut you down. You won't be able to create any more. It's pretty draconian. Obviously, it passed through the House. The FRA doesn't even send lobbyists to the House anymore to talk to them about it. It's just a foregone conclusion. In the Senate, it had 3 subcommittees. It's passed through 2, and in each one, the sponsor of the bill was told to make major changes to the bill. Luckily for us, the last subcommittee is Rules, and that's chaired by Pasadomo, the President of the Senate. And she has told him, you will come see me about this bill, and I will make the changes necessary. Some of the senators in the judiciary said things like, I used to sit on a CRA, CRAs do good work, and I'll vote to get you through this now as a favor to the Pasadomo, who says to pass it on to her, and she'll take care of it. But if it doesn't change, I will vote no on the floor. And the majority of the senators and judiciary made the same comment. So we are hopeful that we will be able to bring back some good news of an amended bill. And what it looks like right yet, we don't know. But we're very hopeful with that. So, we have, the city of Bradenton has helped along the way with giving information to the lobbyists to help them make their arguments to House members and senators. So we should know something within the month because they shut down early May. And you know, they're out there saving our state. So we gotta give them the thumbs up. So that's all I've got, really.
Promise.
Promise.
Okay, anything else? Okay, that being said, I guess we're adjourned.
That was such